Right. Good evening, everyone. And today we're going to learn about Angular and how I specifically like to set up my Angular project. So, a brief overview of Angular. Angular is a web framework which helps daily developers get websites and modern websites up and running very quickly. So, just a brief overview. How Angular works is basically have everything in an app module TS. Obviously, module is a very important word. An app module has Angular require all these libraries that it uses its homemade libraries in order to get itself working optimal and organize these libraries so it can use them to the best of their abilities. Right. So after all the needed libraries are imported for this app, what we have is a template component. And now the template component is HTML markup, but it allows data to enter in and um allow it to multiply itself. So you could repeat the HTML several times instead of having to write it out line by line or use something like jQuery to introduce more elements. This easy allows you to introduce more elements into a component And if you refer back to here, we have something called the app component and panel component and navigation component. So obviously navigation is going to have its links, and you might have to add more links. And something like a template component obviously allows you to easily add in those elements. If you take a close look, we have this bool deciding what type of element it's going to be. Obviously the tag name that represents a tag name, whether it's going to be a div, or it's going to be an image tag, video, obviously. Quantity represents how many times you're going to see the div of a certain type. And also we have the ng style, which allows data from we're going to see from the Typescript bindings of a component or a service to populate this data with its own specific CSS and its own specific properties. So how we populate our data is using something. What we use TypeScript, and now TypeScript is the extension of JavaScript, which allows us to do more. And as you can see in this TypeScript file, we have a panel component. So obviously all the JavaScript related to making this panel component function responsively, and do it all that it's required to do in terms of consumer and user interaction. It's held in here. And you can see some familiar syntax, and this right here is known as a observable, but we'll go into that later. All right, so the final thing I just wanted to go over was your service, and the service is basically how you get things done with an Angular application. The service is obviously a source of truth to the application, as well as a partially state management, but it provides more than enough when it comes to component interaction, which you say, for example, having your panel component interact with the navigation component in order to properly align themselves on the page, and much more. As you can see in our web application, your services will be able to help out with that. All right, so let us begin on how I specifically like to set up these projects, because there's a way done in the community, but I like to set them different to offer granular support and quick customization. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an ng new. All right, and this is how you get an Angular project generated. npx ng new sample. Obviously, you're going to add Angular routing. I'll show you what this looks like in a moment. And meanwhile, I'm going to add this folder to my workspace. You're gonna very annoyed about this navigation component because it doesn't exist, but that's okay. What's happening here is that, as you can see, Angular software is generating a project. So very important files in here, like the Angular JSON. Obviously, that's configuration for the project. Package.json, your npm, no modules configuration. Obviously, that's very important. tsconfig, obviously everything that has to do with TypeScript in order to get that trans-tiled. Well, let's say you're not trans-tiled, but in order to get a conversion to JavaScript, very powerful, very powerful. And polyfills, obviously, you can see polyfill. Every time you see the word polyfill, that means browser support for older browsers. So you can see this. So you can see these polyfill support going back to Internet Explorer 9, and we're going to show you along in this tutorial how to set that up properly. It'll take some time.